I've got limited resources and I want to get started. Do I need branding or marketing? Or branding or marketing? Or branding or marketing? I'm going to pull my hair out if I hear more of this conversation. Let's break it down. Good Marketing Minute. There seems to be this obsession with the idea of being overly specific in the terminology that we're using. I'm doing marketing, or I'm doing branding, or I'm doing customer communication channeling. And a lot of times we're saying things that, while they are unique, they're like Venns, right? They cross over so much areas that we try to separate them so much to be a specialty. And the reality is it's all necessary, right? They play varying roles, and maybe there's almost like a triage, whereas if you're a one-man shop or a one-woman shop, you can't afford to do all things for all people, and so you kind of pick the highest priority of what you should or shouldn't focus on. But most of the time I see this boil down to the frustration of, should I spend time on branding or marketing? And people, I think, see it as marketing. I need people to be aware of me, right? I need people to know that I exist. First thing I'd say is, that's advertising. That's not necessarily marketing. That's advertising. That's awareness, right? That could be public relations even. The other side of that is, when people say, should I do branding, what they mean is, I want to have a brand. I want to be known for a brand that evokes emotion. And the struggle with that is, when you try and delineate the clear differences between branding and marketing, you miss the fact that they're accomplishing different goals. They're not mutually exclusive, and they definitely rely on each other to accomplish both. You have to do branding on the front side if you want to reap great benefits on the back side of having a brand. But at the same time, marketing is all the day-to-day work that you're doing inside there. If you just jumped into marketing, could you end up with a brand? Yeah, certainly. But doing them all together is really what is going to make any of them successful. So here's how I like to think about it. When you think of Jesus Christ in the Bible, he would talk in parables, and his parables had lessons. He didn't always come out and just say what the lesson was. He taught the parable, which drove home the lesson. That, to me, is the relationship between branding and marketing. Branding isn't this idea that you wake up and you have a brand, right? There's real front-end work on what a brand should be. What's your intention behind your brand? This is the model I learned from. I had a great mentor. This is the brand essence wheel. We write down as marketers, this is what our brand is going to be about. There's a framework for working through this. There's a framework for getting your brand positioning statement on the back. That all takes time, and it happens in a closed door with a whiteboard with 5, 6, 7 other creatives just thinking through what's our intention here. That's day one stuff. After that, you have to tell that parable. You have to tell that story. That's your marketing. Your marketing has to pay off. It has to pass through your brand positioning statement. That's a filter. You're not going to go out there and talk to the world, whether it's through social media, podcast, direct mail, any type of advertising, if it doesn't pay off that brand positioning statement. That's why you have to start there. But all the work that you're doing, that's storytelling, right? That's marketing. Marketing is the art of storytelling, so compelling that people lose track of their wallet, right? But what is the story that you're telling? Well, that's the parable, right? And so after you get down that road, you want people to feel a certain way, right? And you want to be intentional on the front end of, how should I feel? How do I want people to interact with this product? When you can get to the end of that line, and there is no end to it, but when you can get to a point and you can say, when I put this logo in front of you, how do you feel? And that matches what you intended, then you've won. That's success. So the relationship between branding and marketing, it's too tied together. I don't know how you can have a conversation about, I'm only going to focus on branding. You're not going to have a brand if you're not doing any marketing. You can just do marketing if you want, but I think what you mean when you say that is you're really just doing advertising, you're really just doing public relations. So let's not have this debate any longer about what's more important, branding or marketing, or branding and marketing. Figure out your framework. It doesn't have to be the brand essence wheel. That's what I would recommend, but there's a number of frameworks for positioning your brand personally, right? Inside your organization, what is the brand? Then your strategy, your execution, that's the story, that's the parable you're telling that has a point to it, right? There's a lesson you want people to get out of that. And in the end, what you have is branding, right? It's like a sandwich. You can't separate any parts and still have the same experience. And if you're gonna triage your priorities, which I think you should do, I think you have to focus on the fact that branding and marketing are both important. When you're gonna get down to level 2 or level 3, if we're using triage lingo, that's gonna be how much time should I spend on these communication channels, right? That's a whole different conversation. How much time should I spend interacting with customers on Twitter and Pinterest versus Facebook and YouTube, and those are going to have way different value payoffs for your customers, and that's what we really are going to save time doing. Saving time trying to decide between branding or marketing, in the long run, you're going to want to make sure that's top priority, accomplishing both of those things. How you do the marketing, that's a good area to triage your priorities and figure out what is most critical. Where's my community live? What are my communication channels? Where does my brand just need to be present? Those are all things that will save you time. Don't save time deciding between doing branding or marketing. You have to figure out your brand on the front end. It doesn't have to be a complicated framework like the brand essence wheel, which it's not that complicated, but it does take a little bit of learning. It can just be a, what do my customers want out of this, and what's the promise that I'm trying to give to them? That can be the basic framework if you just want to start there, right? It's an oversimplification, but hopefully it's a helpful one. What is it at first that I want people to know about us and feel about us and get from our value? What is it that I want them to take home? Just start with that. Use that as a filter. Who's it for? What's it accomplish? So that what? What's the benefit on the tail end? Try that basic framework. Then from there, you can decide, what are the areas to spend our time in terms of marketing this. That's my thoughts. It's a little bit of a rant. Branding and marketing, which one's more important? I'm not sure you could choose, right? Why not just do both? I don't think they're mutually exclusive. They do take a little bit of a craft, does take a little bit of time, but let's not pretend like these are mutually exclusive ideas that can't work together. Love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. If you disagree, I would love to hear why you disagree, your thoughts. I bet you can maybe change my mind, influence it one way or the other. I'd love to have a good conversation about it. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would subscribe or share it with someone that you think would get some value out of this. Maybe you recently had a debate with someone on the same topic. Send them this and see what their thoughts are.